Okay, welcome to the FitQuest weekly team meeting. Good to see all your faces here. We'll just go ahead and get started. Make this as efficient as possible. Jen and I were both basically just saying, feel free to contact us anytime if you have any questions. The chat is probably your best resource. It's searchable. Everybody on there is very helpful. I know it can be a lot to keep up with, but don't feel bad asking your questions and don't feel bad coming directly to us either. So why don't we start with like some weekly updates? I know you just had your larger team meeting right before, so that's always really good timing. I didn't know if you wanted to start.
Yeah, it gets me pretty excited and fired up for this meeting because my brain gets going on different things. And then obviously we get going on some different things. But, just some quick reminders. We currently have the incentive for 700 by the 7th. So we have till the end of today. So we can pre-order Olive Rose a week before everybody else. So essentially, when it launches to the rest of the consultant field, we'll have it in hand is their goal. Like as soon as we order, they're putting it out into shipment. So 700 is including PSV. Drop in the chat or raise your hand if you've already earned it. I'm super excited that we
That's
get
not organization, right? That's just PSV.
PSV, personal sales or your personal purchases. Yep, not organization, not consultants in there.
It can
Yeah.
be any combo. It can be one or the other or any combo of
Mhm.
retail sales, personal purchases.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, some things to look at is maybe looking at yourself. How much do you need, right? And I don't know if we dropped in the FitQuest group chat, but from the main announcement page, Danielle had mentioned has some like scripts. We're not big on scripts, right? Just if we ever give you a script, just know it's not to use 1000% on your own. It's for us to be able to get your brain going and be like, oh, that's a good way of saying that. Now let me put it in my own words. But anyways, a script to help you reach out to maximize the sales so that you achieve this. Also, it might be a good time to look to see your teammates, like how much more do they need? It's going to be a nice little boost to your OV, but also, like personally, if I was $50 short and I didn't really understand this incentive was going on because maybe I'm not super active in the group chat, I'd be kind of not hurt because it's on me, but I would be upset that I missed this opportunity because I probably would have just purchased like, I don't know, an F59 or something, right? So just make sure you're reaching out to teammates and they know like if they're close, how much more they need.
Also, I figured out yesterday because I was, or 2 days, whenever it was that I did the glow incentive, our glow party incentive that Jenna and I do. I purchased gift cards for those of you who did host in-person events, and that goes towards it. I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah, good to
Just
know.
boosted
Gift
that.
cards
So
for the holidays. Awesome.
yeah.
That is good to know. We'll talk about holiday sets in a little bit, but they are live. New consultant enrollment sets are live. These are awesome.
I am so excited about the LA Dope one.
Super excited about the LA Dope one.
Like
and
we finally have a set that totally works for like acne prone people.
anyone. It works.
I wish they called it like also acne prone.
the one that you want to get. So I think if you never know what to recommend to somebody, just recommend, and they're a new consultant signing on, is recommend the LA Dope starter set because they're going to be happy with what they
I
see.
always like that one or the internals because it's going to work for anyone. If you have sensitive skin, LA Dope all the way, right? Acne prone, it works great. My son today, I mean, he just moved back and he was like, Mom, do we have anything to use for shaving cream? Because his face, he was mentioning, was getting, especially moving from Amsterdam back to here where it's like super dry. He's like, my face really hurts when I shave. So I gave him the LA Dope 009 because I'm like, it's gonna get him to wash his face. And then the LA Dope 003 to use afterwards. His one time, I wished I'd taken a picture before and after because his skin looked so much different.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
great for guys too, because he also didn't look super shiny, which a lot of guys are like, I don't want to be glowy.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. So push not push because people are going to love it, but push the LA Dope set when consultants are
it's safe.
signing on. It's hugely safe. And I don't think we talk enough about the hemp benefits, right? That you have the hydroxytyrosol, but now you're adding in the added hemp benefits, and synergistically, those two working in your skin in tandem is incredible results, right? It's just next level. Now, I will say the acne line, yes, F74 is in there, and we probably all would have preferred like an F05 or an F08, but the F74 does work for a lot of acne prone individuals. So don't shy away from that. Just know that you might have to check in on that consultant and troubleshoot with them a little bit, that maybe if they are breaking out, it might be probably the F74, but that's still a great cream for them to have, especially for the chest area and so forth.
Always say, even with F07, I never returned it because one, it's good for glow parties.
Yep.
Two, even though I'm acne prone, it works great on my neck and chest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's other applications for these things.
Absolutely. And then also in the acne set, the olive core face peeling is in there, which I love. I think that is like one of the best products that we have, because I was a St. Ives girls back in the early 90s, right? I had no idea that you're not supposed to exfoliate your face every day. That was what I used to wash my face every single day. But it will, if you have an active breakout, it will cause you to spread your active breakout. So again, check in and coach the consultant that just purchased that, right? I love the fact that the what is it? F80 something, the acne SOS drops are in
85.
there.
They're so good.
F85. Yep. So super helpful, right? And then the other consultant set is the corrective set, basically the hydroxytyrosol line, correct? Am I mixing up the holiday set and
No, I think I'm no, there's a corrective new enrollment kit that's all corrective. Yeah, you're correct.
Okay. And I was looking at that, and honestly, that is a really good set for the individual who wants total anti-aging. It has the gel cleanser, it has the toner, it has the F42. So just kind of take a look at it. Again, you may have to troubleshoot if something comes up, or maybe it makes their face more red because it's just a lot of hydroxytyrosol. When people first start off with our products, you all know that too much hydroxytyrosol is not great for us. And so for some people breeze through no problem, but just be able to troubleshoot. And if you can't, come to the chats and collectively we'll help you troubleshoot. Okay.
Right. I was just thinking it could be really helpful to, I'm pulling up boards really quick to share, because I want to show you guys where you can find these sets, because people might ask you about enrolling and then they want to look at them. So you need to know where you can send them to find it. So if you go into, let me go into where, oh my God, Mochi, sorry. If you go into the FitQuest boards and then scroll down, right here under ingredient questions or starter sets, and I updated these yesterday. These ones with the pink have the new ones. This here has all of them now. Yes. Mochi, no. So you can like pop them open and look and see everything that's in there. While we are looking at the LA Dope one, do you guys have any questions at all about any of these products that I just want to go through quickly each set.
Yeah.
Any questions about how to use them, confusion on anything? You can speak up, or I don't have the chat open anymore. So that's the LA Dope one. This is the corrective. Basically, it's hard to see, but it's the F72, F67, F86. So I should probably say what they are, tonic, but the F86, the F42 face cream, and it looks like Kahai. Yeah. I mean, good set for people that are wanting corrective. And then the anti-acne is the IO1. I'm so excited they put that in there. F38 gel cleanser, that F10 olive core face peeling, the F74, and the acne drops. So any questions about those, go ahead and let us know. But you can find everything here to send to people. And then there's also a link here that you can send for people to be able to like look at it bigger. So that's usually what I send for people to be able to truly look at everything that's in them.
And I think it's really important too, once they do sign on as a consultant, to let them know that they do have the option in the first 30 days to up and get another kit. Which if you've been around for a while, you know, I wanted nothing to do with the internals when I started. I want less supplements versus more. And then within like 2 weeks of learning all the benefits of it, I was like, all right, I'm buying the internals, and I've been hooked ever since. So
Yeah.
I think it's a really good option for people to know that. And I do think a lot of new consultants forget that option.
Yep. And the Glow from the Inside Out kit is the other one. I think between now LA Dope and this, these are going to be the two main that I
Mhm.
recommend. And I do think for a lot of like teenagers, the anti-acne is going to be great. You
Yeah.
know, it's going to work for most teens.
Yeah.
Not only teens, but you know, a lot of people come on and want to know like what do I get for my teenager? That's a good one if
Absolutely.
they want to get that and they already, let's say it was a retail person that already has products, but decides they want to become a consultant. Great, that's perfect. But the Glow from the Inside Out kit, to be able to get pretty much all of the internals for $251 is a really, really good deal, including the olive, like the oil pulling. Jen and I are both huge on those. I do it like twice a day now.
Yeah. Same. Same.
So,
Yeah. And just a quick update on the oil pulling. I have implant, and I was really worried that like my other teeth would get whiter, but my implant would stay dark, and it's actually lightened the implant. And now so much so that the fake tooth that I have in here is so much darker than my other teeth, even with the retainer plastic. So it,
wow.
yeah, well, because I think I got it because when I'm oil pull, I take the plastic out.
Yeah.
And so like that fake tooth doesn't get the oil pulling. So I think I got to soak it in there, because even if I clean, it's still stained to have matched my old colors.
That's
So
exciting. That's
pretty
exciting.
awesome. Okay.
Super awesome. Okay. I'm gonna move this here so that we can also look at the nice slides you put together.
Oh
So
yeah, sure. So we want to make sure that, well, yeah, it said 100. So I thought it said maybe 1,000, but I'm reading it wrong. So, you want to make sure that your $100 subscribe and save, or your LRP order is in, or $250 in PSV this week will set you up for the remainder of the month to make you fast start eligible. What that does, just quick reminder, takes your level ones. If anybody enrolls with a starter kit, you go from earning 10% on their purchases to 20% each month that they're qualified. And then if it's level 2, it's 5 to 10, you move up to 10%. If it's level 3, you go from 5% to 7.5%. So it's easy money. And I always make it a challenge to sell the 250. So I don't feel like I always have to purchase. I'm purchasing regardless. But it's a nice way to kind of challenge yourself at the beginning of the month. And usually you got to do it the first month, but because of where the month and the paychecks kind of landed, you got to get it in this week. New is twice a month onboarding call. We're going to be starting this. The first one will be on the 15th at 9 a.m. PST. So prior to the Olive Rose live launch that they're doing. If you sign on any consultants between now and then, urge them if they can to get on this call. It's going to help them get in action right away. We're going to spend brief second going over back office stuff, but our goal of it is to help them get into action and have them leaving the call with wanting more information, so that they are going to be self-motivated and take the initiative to dive into some of the resources, because we know we have amazing resources, but it's
and then to reach out to their mentors. So when we all met as leaders to talk about this onboarding call and brainstorming, it was, let's keep it short. Like the first 10 minutes is walking people through what resources are available to them. And then we'll spend like 20 minutes doing Q&A with a goal of sending, you know, like Jen said, you can take action now. You feel comfortable taking action, posting, whatever, even if you don't know the products, because you know where the resources are to answer those questions, but then also to send them to their mentors. And then separately, because every team does things differently, Jen and I want you guys to understand there's a lot of people that sign on as consultants who are afraid to grow a team because they don't know how to support them. If you don't want to support your team, Jen and I will do it. We are already doing the calls and stuff. So don't let that be a hindrance to you growing your team, because we're always happy to step in and help you guys with what you need or coach you along the way. So
yeah. Great. And then just know that it's always going to be on the 1st and always going to be on the 15th, no matter what day of the week it or lands on.
Yeah.
So the 1st is Sunday, and it's just the way it's going to be for December, right? Yeah. So just keep a heads up, back of your mind. We'll remind you as it's getting closer, but that is something to write down. Return kit, I mentioned that was updated in the chat already. Obviously,
why don't we say it really quick on here, because we
Okay.
weren't recording, and that way
Yep.
people that can't keep up with the chats will hear it.
Yep. So now if you signed on, or before, if you were signing on as a consultant and you want to return your kit, they were telling you had to terminate your consultant fee as well. That is not the
It's
case.
just being a consultant. They were saying you had to quit, basically.
Yeah, you had to quit. You had to terminate. And then if that happens, then you would have had to wait 6 months to re-enroll, which wasn't making any sense. So luckily the leaders rallied, and headquarters listened to us. You can now return your kit and then still keep your consultant status, but they're gonna give you back product credit. Here's the thing. If you're wanting to return a kit because you don't like the one moisturizer and you want to order another moisturizer, I'm assuming that you sign up for a consultant and you're going to be working the business. Even if you're not working the business, you can still use that cream as a gift to somebody else, or, like maybe you have a second bathroom and you have guests that come and stay, and you can use that, or you could use it to work your business with. So we're hoping that we minimize the actual return because you just don't like one of the products. And if you have a consultant that wants to return just the whole kit and it's just one product that they're unhappy with, and they've reached out to you and you've communicated with them, then reach out to myself, and I'm sure Gretchen's the same way. Let us try to troubleshoot with them. If they really do not want to hold on to the F07, let me know, because I'll buy it back from them. They can send it to me and we'll get them another product. Okay. So
by the way, this is not at all to say you guys can't return things, because that's not how we feel.
No, absolutely.
It's just thinking about working the business, and truly F07 is an amazing face cream for most people. It just isn't for those of us that are acne prone.
Yeah. Yeah. And we find people that have been successful using tallow. That's one that they really like. And so, that's
the Kates of the world love it.
Yeah. So that might be something you can add.
I was going to add too, like I started with it and I thought it was causing breakouts. And so I stopped using it, and now I've returned to it and I've been back on it for like a month without any issue. So it's just, sometimes time as well to get your face used to the new products.
Yeah.
Totally, to get you used to the hydroxytyrosol, because there are things that I thought I'd never be able to use. Like I use the Kahai every night now, and that's part of why I'm doing my whole education series, because we've all learned things now this much time into it that like certain things you just don't start with, but it doesn't mean you can't end up using them eventually,
Right. Yeah. And, personally, I liked the F07 and I was great for 3 months. And then all of a sudden I started breaking out. Right. And I took it out and then I was fine. So I think it's, again, the education around the individual products. And you might just have to help educate your consultants under you as well. But again, at the end of the day, if you're unhappy and you want to return them, absolutely return them within the 60-day mark. Please don't empty them into another container and abuse the system, or so we're going to have to change our return system.
Still gonna
I know.
So,
But-
I mean, this is partly why, just so you guys have a background in this, because the company has started out like just being very generous. And then at the beginning, unfortunately, some people were buying like the Glow from Within set, using all of the internals and returning empty giant glass bottles, which cost the company a lot of money. And that's why we can't have those on subscription anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't ruin it for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. And, yes, technically it says we have 365-day return, try the products, you don't like it, internals. I've had somebody ask me and I'm like, technically, yeah, but if you're using the product, you probably need it for more than a month. You probably need to be on it for 3 months to truly notice a difference. And if it's like an adverse taste thing, you know that within the first taste or two, right? So it's not an empty bottle, but it's having those conversations, right? With customers and with consultants. All right.
But ultimately, I do want you guys to lead with the whole like Nordstrom way of the customer is always right. So let's
Absolutely.
keep them all happy.
Yep. 1000%. And if it's not within your means to be able to help them, contact Gretchen or I, and we'll do what we can to always keep them satisfied. I worked at a clothing store, back home in Canada, and they had a lifetime guarantee on all their clothing. People would use work boots and have a hole out because they've worn them for the last 30 years, would bring them in, we give them a brand new pair of boots. And it was, that's what we did.
Good customer service is going to retain your customers, and you know,
absolutely. Yep.
every once in a while someone will take advantage, but overall people are good.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So let's move on.
I know. Let me move it up so I can see the next screen. Okay. Yay.
All right. Team training to Julia. So I asked Julia a couple weeks back. It was actually a nice little meeting that we had. Not many other people or nobody else except for Julia and I showed up for this team meeting, which was perfect because it allowed us to catch up. But we also discussed about how awesome she was doing weaving in OTP with her health business. And I just asked her if she'd be willing to train you all on what she does. And you'll really get a feeling that it's just really, she doesn't make it a big deal. It's just part of the recommendations. And I think as we got talking, I think where people lose the how to is because they get this like icky feeling, even though you're going to recommend like, hey, I'm going to recommend you never drink water out of a plastic water bottle, which I'm on a water boil. So I got a lot of plastic water bottles happening right now. Anyways. Okay. So without any more delay, we are having Julia.
Thanks, guys. I'm a little under the weather, so if I'm coughing, I'm sorry in advance. I also just do want to mention my Instagram is not. So I work for a company called Everspan Life, and I am the main functional medicine practitioner and nutritionist there. So what you see on my Instagram is not what the clients who are purchasing. I mean, I do sell to people on my Instagram, but those are not typically my clients. My clients are coming from the practice that I work for. But I used to have my own business doing nutrition, functional medicine. So I'm just curious for those of you that are on that can talk, how many of you do have a health practice where you're meeting with clients, you're recommending things? Either show of hands, yes, nod. Okay. Annie, Kelly. Okay, great. Really like to make these interactive. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you can't talk, you can drop it in the chat and I can kind of
I would love to see in the chat, or if you can talk, what your businesses are and what you're focused around, because I think that also makes
and also know that we have a lot of practitioners on our team and a lot of people watch the replay. So you're speaking to
lots of
your audience. Yeah.
Okay, great. Let me see. I'm gonna open the chat. Okay. All right. So let's working on it. My health coach practice. Okay. So one of the things I think that's really important to remember is that if somebody is hiring you to help them, they already know, like, and trust you, right? You already have a form of authority because they're paying for you to help them move in the direction that they want to move. And I think that it's really important to remember that, because how we come off when we're making recommendations and the confidence in what we're recommending, I think is also really important. So don't lose sight that your patients are paying you to guide them in the right direction. And so you already have that authority. So the way that I typically approach it, and I didn't put together like a slideshow or anything. I was just it's really pretty simple. So I was like, I'm just gonna tell you guys what I do. So for me personally, I typically am going through labs with clients and seeing what's going on with them underneath the surface. So taking into account their labs, their goals, where they are currently, where they want to go. So even if you are not going through labs with somebody, you still have all the information on where they're at, what they're struggling with, and what they're trying to achieve. I'm assuming that if you have your own business in healthcare or health coaching practice, that you do some form of intake appointment with your patient, right? Where you ask questions, you get to know them, you ask their history, you ask what medications they're taking, what supplements they're taking, and what their goals are. So you have a really good idea of what they want to achieve and what is going on with them. And I think that's important to weave in. So as you go through these coaching sessions with them and you're making recommendations, you can hit on the touch points that they told you. So if somebody says to you, oh, I'm getting old and my skin is looking droopy, you can talk about the products in regard to that. Or if somebody's talking about, oh, I just feel so inflamed and I really want to help get rid of this inflammation. It's important to note these things down in your notes so that while you're making recommendations to them, you can hit on these certain things. So, and the other thing I want to mention too is I want you to view Olive Tree People as just another recommendation. So for example, if you tell your client, you really would benefit from some vitamin D supplementation because you can't get out into the sun 20 minutes a day unfiltered, there's really no difference in making that recommendation versus making a recommendation to start IO1. So trying to view it in the same way, just because you were making a commission off of it, it's the same thing as sending somebody to Fullscript and saying, hey, here's the list of supplements I'm suggesting via Fullscript. Maybe they don't know that you're getting a kickback from it, but it's the same thing. So kind of viewing this as I'm just making my recommendations and Olive Tree People is one of them. So viewing it in that way. So yeah, typically when I go through the recommendations with a client, I say, okay, here are the 5 things I'm recommending. Here's what they are, here's why, and here's how they're going to help you. And if in that you touch on the main things that that client wants to achieve, typically it's a no-brainer. They're like, good, send me the link where I can go get it. So I think really just paying attention to what their goals are, what they're trying to achieve, what they're struggling with, and tying that into how, let's say, the internals are going to help them and educating them on what is in the internals and how that specifically is going to help their goals. Also, when it comes to the skincare side of things, the way that I approach this is in my intake appointment where I'm getting to know the client, I ask them, what do you use in your household? What do you use for your cleaning supplies? What do you use on your skin? What do you use on your hair? What kind of food are you buying? Is it organic? Is it non-GMO? However you want to word it, but you just weave it in so that you can understand what their toxic burden is. Because most of us as practitioners know that once our toxic burden bucket is full, it is full and it spills over and it starts causing issues. And so I think education as well around toxic burden and how that can be affecting somebody if they're not aware of that is an important discussion. And you don't even need to bring up Olive Tree People, but in that intake appointment, you put it in there, right? What are you using in your household? Are you using candles? Are you using what laundry detergent are you using, and touch on all of those, because later on when you're making your recommendations, you can put in there, I really love Branch Basics and that's what I use for my laundry detergent. I really love Olive Tree People for skincare and body wash. I really love this brand for this. And so it's just in there as another recommendation on where to get something. So again, making it not a big deal and then tying it into their goals and setting the stage for you to make these recommendations later on by asking them these questions in their intake appointment. So asking them those things and then saying, how's the health of your skin? Your skin, educating. Your skin is your biggest organ. What we put on our skin day in and day out makes a big difference. And one of the things that I typically say as well, I say, sorry, I just lost my train of thought, but I typically will tell them, oh my God, I just completely lost my train of thought, but let me think. Ask them a question. Oh yes. Okay. So the thing I tell them about toxic burden is there's so much that we can't control that we come into contact with on a daily basis. So if there are things that we can control in our home, like the things we're putting on our body, the things we're washing our clothes in, what we're putting on our skin, what kind of food we're buying, it will make a big difference. So control the controllables. is something I talk about as well. All right. So that can make a difference, because while we come into toxins on a daily basis, if we can reduce that load, then that bucket won't continue to fill up, fill up, fill up. So that's another point that I usually make. I would love, if anyone is able to talk or put in the chat, I would love to hear, like, what is your biggest struggle, or what holds you up from recommending olive tree people, and so that I can maybe address specifically what you're struggling with.
My employer, he does not want anything to do with an MLM.
Got it.
So
Okay.
it's not really a possibility.
It's not a possibility. Okay. Well, I think,
Not through him. Like the people I do have on the side,
mhm.
it is, but for him, anything to do with MLM, he doesn't want anything to do with. But he's making a percentage off of standard process, right? Like,
So right, and that's
but
the
people
point. It's
have
like,
this thing with MLM and they don't want anything to do with it. So
right. In your own practice, you said you're recommending it. Are you coming
yeah.
up against any resistance in recommending it, or are people questioning
No,
it?
not usually. No, people, I mean, like you said, they're coming to you because they don't know what else to do, and then you build a trust with them. And no, not usually. I'm not on my own, but inside there, I can't ever. And that's the majority of my stuff is there. Yeah.
Kelly, have you tried to sell it to them more as a affiliate link and just pure percentage?
Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit. I think it's something that's going to have to be put on the back burner for a while.
Right. Yeah, some people
yeah.
take a longer time to warm up to. I know when I was working at the naturopathic doctor's office, it was the same resistance. And I was just like,
Yeah.
look, some of these products that are really good, you can't get anywhere
No.
else. And so that's why they've come to this affiliate or direct sales kind of marketing. But I know Julia, like she had mentioned, she works for this other company. It's not her direct clients that she's marketing and getting herself, which is great because she's been able to maneuver around. And actually, Julia, maybe you can talk about how you got the CEO to, or the CEO to use the products. And then also maybe that conversation of like, hey, how did you bridge that I really want to start recommending these products, or kind of that next step, or did you just start just kind of like with brand basics, or how did that work?
I actually just started without even asking.
Mhm.
I just started because I loved the products, and I was like, I'm just gonna start recommending. And then what happened was, and luckily my CEO is like really, but he actually, somebody texted him. So the business is very intricate. Like, it comes all referrals. People know each other. There's not, so somebody reached out to the CEO and said, hey, is Everspan or Julia affiliated with Olive Tree people? So then the CEO reached out to me, and I told him about it. I was like, yeah, I've recommended it to like 1 or 2 people. And then I asked permission. I was like, these people are really seeing good results. And he basically just said, whatever you think is going to give the patient the best result, I don't care what you recommend. He goes, sign us up he's like, but if you are going to recommend it, we should get an affiliate link.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I had them ordering just like under me, but then I was like, well, he said, if you're going to continue to recommend it, just get us an affiliate link. And then, whatever you think is going to give them the best result. So luckily, Kelly, I didn't really have to have like a in-depth conversation about it. The COO wound up approaching, I told him about it. And he said, well, do you use it? I was like, well, obviously, of course I use it. And I told him how much I love it. And he tried it himself. And after a week, he sent me, I put it in the chat, but he sent me a voice recording. He goes, not that I ever doubted you, but he only has the face cream and an eye cream. He's like, it's been a week and I'm already seeing a difference. And so that was really cool. But I don't have a lot of tips on how to approach it with your CEO, because I didn't really need to do that. He was like, whatever you think is going to be best.
Yeah.
So,
And I do think like getting it structured that way where it's just an affiliate link, because a lot of times they don't want to have to deal with all like team building, and they think they have to, or that they have to have a monthly purchase. And it's just basically, look, if you're over $3,001, you'll make 35% off. And, business-minded people understand that. And then when they're seeing the results. So, sometimes it's not for everybody. And unfortunately, that's not the way it works. But I do like the structure of them being under you as their own standalone entity, and the link you're sharing has the company's name on it versus your name. And I think that makes a difference too. But, you know, a lot of people, if you're an individual, you could have your company have an account, or maybe you signed up with your company name. So now you're sharing a link. Like for me, I could be sharing a link that says Be Vibrant instead of Jen Merzak, right? And that I think gives a level of professionalism versus just, oh, this is my link, I'm going to make commissions, which always is kind of like a little.
Well, and also in a different way, Julie and I had spoken about this prior to them signing up. You're also giving yourself some longevity. We never know where we're going to be. You know, we don't know. Like, I wouldn't have guessed 2 years ago that I wouldn't be a practitioner working with clients one-on-one right now. But Julie is a consultant with Olive True People, and the practice that she works with right now is a consultant under her. So who knows where life's going to take her? And if she doesn't happen to work with them in a year or two, she's still benefiting from the groundwork that she laid with all of these patients right now, because they're going to continue liking the products, and whatever grows out of that is going to stay with her if she's not there at some point.
Yes, for sure. I think too, you got just the education around the products. Whenever I tell people the story of Olive Tree People, everyone is intrigued. Everyone is like, oh, I really want to try that. So I think the education around how the company started, how they are extracting the hydroxytyrosol from the leaves of the olive tree, and just kind of giving them that story, and then the benefits of hydroxytyrosol, of course, the benefits of the hemp, the benefits of each internal, and really knowing those products inside out. Because when somebody says, yeah, like I don't have as much, collagen in my face, it's drooping, it needs more plumping, then you can talk about the I-70 and how that's going to help them with the hydration, with the plumping of the skin. So instead of just being like, here's a product, it will help plump your skin, just getting into the details a little bit further. I think some people don't care, but most people do appreciate that, so that they understand why they're taking what they're taking, or why you're recommending what you're recommending. But I think it does come back. Like I had somebody yesterday and was like, they're hiring you to guide them. And so if you come off of, here's what we're doing for this specific thing, here's what we're doing for that specific thing, here's a link on where you can get it. Like I'm recommending things from Full Script, then we order things from a compounding pharmacy for things like hormones, and then I send them the link for things for skincare. Sometimes I'll send them a link to Element electrolyte. So it's just another recommendation in all of the things I'm recommending.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing. And nobody, I mean, really nobody has ever questioned, like, is this an MLM? And I know that there is somebody specifically I'm thinking about that knows after they ordered that it was an MLM, but like didn't care because she loves the product. So I don't think people are going to care once they see the difference in which it can make. So, but yeah, I do think weaving it in is just another recommendation, and then coming off confident when you're talking about the products and how it's going to help their specific goal, and talking just generally about toxic burden and controlling the controllables, because I think that's a really important point too.
So I have a question that I think will help the group. When you're talking about the intake form and you see that they're already using pretty good skincare, how do you bridge? Like, do you just leave it alone, or do you still approach it with?
It depends on how committed they seem to their current skincare. Like I have had a couple clients that are like, I use this skincare, I really love it, it's working well for me. I did recommend the internals to them, but otherwise I left it alone because I could tell she was like not. However, like yesterday, this woman who she's using a pretty good skincare, it's called Eminence, it's organic, and I asked her, do you know what the first ingredient is? I talked about the water, being up to 70%. But she actually, when I was talking about this company, she's like, but I'm open to trying something that you feel might be better. And so most people are typically open unless they're like, I'm in love with my skin, it's perfect, I don't want to touch anything. This woman said, I actually want some stuff for my body. I feel like my skin is a little bit wrinkly or this or that, and I could use more hydration on the skin of my body. So she started saying like, this is what I use, I like it. And then talked about body. And then once I told her the story and everything, she's like, actually, if you can send me like a plan for my face, like whatever you think I need, I'm definitely open to trying it.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. So I think you have to assess. If they seem super committed, don't push it. I think maybe the internals is a good way to go. Sometimes starting people on the internals alone is a great way to get them started. And then over time, they might want to try the skincare, but I wouldn't push it if they are super happy with my skin, don't have any issues with my skin, I love it. I probably wouldn't push it. But
Yeah, I love
I would do the internals because those are great, not just for skin.
Right, right. And they'll understand the quality once they see some results from the internals. The other question I had is, or not a question, but maybe you could explain how you don't limit the recommendation for somebody, like you don't just do skincare, you don't just do internals, like if they want the full protocol that you'll send them for all the 3 people, how you kind of blend it. So I'm specifically thinking like the conversation we had of the one lady and you're like, oh my gosh, this order is going to be X amount of money. Should I cut some products out? And just how we navigated around that.
Sure. Yeah. I think so with this one individual, I guess, well, a couple of them actually have wanted recommendations. And the way that I usually go about it, well, this specific woman, she literally said, I'm going to have my assistant send you my credit card number, order me anything that you want me, that you think I should order. And I said, if we do everything that I recommend, it could be $1,000. Is that okay with you? And she goes, I don't care, anything you need, just run the credit card. That, I mean, really nice, right? That's not going to be the majority of people. So majority of people are not going to say that. The way that I go
Sorry,
about it,
I loved Kelly's face. She was like, yeah.
I know. Meanwhile, I haven't gotten
Let's find those clients.
I haven't gotten the credit card yet, but she texted me this morning and she was like, my assistant's dragging her feet. I'm going to get it to you. And I was like, okay.
Awesome.
But anyway, most people, the way that I approach it is I tell them that I'm going to put everything I would recommend in there. And it might seem like a lot, but number one, keep in mind that these products are very bioactive, meaning you don't need a lot. So they are going to last a long time. Number two is you're not going to use every single product every day and night. We're going to start slow and then layer in with time. So again, just another point that it's going to last a long time. And then I also tell them, if you look at it and you feel like, wow, that's a lot, that's more than I can do, let me know. And then I will cut back and prioritize and give you the ones that I would start with. So I don't limit it in that regard, unless the patient says like, I can only spend this amount, then I will do that. But
think about it. If you're recommending a full skincare recommendation, right? You're doing at least 5 products when you include the 2 eye products, right? And then maybe 3 or 4. So you have many products there, and then all the internals. And so that adds up really quickly. But Julia and I had this conversation. It's like, you'd never want to impose your resistance of like, ooh, that's a lot of money, because what's a lot of money for me is going to be different for Gretchen, for Julia, for Kelly, for Annie, for Aaron, and so it's like, okay, let's take a deep breath, give them the full recommendation. And I love the way Julia explains, like, hey, if this is too much, let me know, we can pull back some items and I can give you like the must-haves. But this, if you truly want to get the most bang for your buck and like, let's get everything that you need, this is what you need. And
most people do say, send me it all and I'll look at it. And then there have been people that have come back and be like, I can't do all of that right now. Like, what are the priorities that you think I should start for my goals? And then you give them, what you think they should start. But yeah, I do. And I always preface by saying, I'm going to give you everything. If it feels like too much, we'll prioritize. So that's how I go about it. In that way. Yeah.
Love it.
And you can put together multiple carts for someone at the beginning. This is something that I've done. Like if you look at some of which I need to update, some of my boards links for like acne regimens to recommend. I have like dry skin, oily skin, combo skin, streamlined, full package. Like you can create in the span of minutes a web page via boards where you're like, here's 3 carts, like just get it done. And the reality is, once you have those pages saved, you can save them to the name of, instead of saying this is Annie's cart, you can say this is Gretchen's recommended anti-aging carts. And then they exist and you don't even have to keep reinventing the wheel. I mean, I just realized I need to reinvent the wheel because we don't have stock issues anymore.
Yeah.
So I can truly put what I want in there.
I just thought of something else that I do too, and I know it's a little scattered, but in that intake, when I'm doing with patients, I also talk about gut health, and I ask them that how's their health with their gut, what are their bowel movements like, and get into that nitty gritty too. And then later on, when I make a recommendation for, let's say, IO1, I explain, because you told me this is going on, these are the things we're going to do for your gut. And it's just another recommendation. But I also like to, and most people do know this, but I like to explain how gut health is related to skin health. And so we really want to help work on the inflammation within your gut, and then you can tie that into how hydroxytyrosol, the IO1, can help with their gut health, and how that in turn can help with their skin. So there's so many things you can touch on when you're doing an intake that will make a lot of sense later for them when you bring up why you're making certain recommendations.
I love that.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julia. That was super helpful. I don't know if anybody has any other questions. Julia left. We can answer her question maybe in the chat. It was about a med spa and esthetician, so we can troubleshoot that here.
Can you read that out loud just so that the people on the recording know?
Yeah.
So Juliet said, I'm trying to sell to my friend who owns a med spa. She won't have the conversation because she thinks only medical grade is acceptable, but her coworkers and estheticians love my skin and are interested. My friend is the owner, though. I need to get her to at least hear me and listen. My first argument would be, it kind of is medical grade. Like, this was intended to go into med spas only. So that is what I would lead with, is that was the intention. And then the pandemic happened, and that's when he decided to shift and go with education. Like, let's have these consultants, but let's educate them so they know how to sell this very strong skincare. Look at our faces. Like, within the span of a week, my crow's feet went away. You can't tell me that this, like, I've paid for all the medical grade things and none of them ever did that. So, like, lead with the before and afters and the story of the origin of how this was intended to come to the States.
And I think definitely too, having her try the products herself. I think that would go a long way for her.
I was just going to say that if she's not interested in having a conversation, you can't really push it. I mean, she's not going to want to hear you. So I think, okay, instead of the conversation, it's okay, are you open to trying some of these things on your own? I'll send you some samples, and just make your own sample of, the things that you feel are going to work best for her, that she won't have a big reaction to, and let her try them for herself. I think that's the best way to do it. Can't push her to have a conversation if she doesn't want to hear you.
Yeah, and if she's a med spa owner, so I think packaging matters too, because she's trying to sell products. And we've talked about this before, Juliet, so I'm pretty sure this is the one that's local to you. So in that case, if you're not familiar with it, I'd watch the full product drop-off training that we have. I wouldn't even make samples. I send her full size products so that she can truly get a feel for the glass jars, the weight, the packaging, how they all look, how they all smell. And she may not even want to try them all, but to be able to touch them and smell them as a spa owner is different than someone just looking for a streamlined regimen. You need to get a full view of the line. And if you have LA Dope, I'd include that too,
if they're local, definitely would do that.
And I would also, give your friend and owner some time, but if the coworkers and the other estheticians are interested, they're their own individual people, that invite them to a glow workshop that you're having, or a sip and see, so that they can come and check out the actual products themselves, because they might want a side gig on the side, and sure, you don't want to.
And they may be able to advocate for you once they've tried it, be like, come on, you need to get these in here. They're great. Now, in case you don't have time to watch that training, when I'm talking about dropping off full size products, that's expensive for you. So you set a time limit. I'm going to drop these off to you on Monday, and I will be back on Friday to pick these up. This is my personal stock. So you don't want her thinking you've gifted her all of these full size products,
Yeah, don't need to have that expense.
Yeah. So you set the limit on it. And if she's not interested, she's not. But I love Jen's idea of, you know what? Sounds like you already know the other estheticians. Invite them over.
Yeah. It's kind of the same deal, right? Like, I have some friends that have had conversations with me for maybe 3 months about being a consultant. And then I know her close friends really well. And I know that they either would really like purchasing as a customer or want to become a consultant. And so I kind of take a breath and I give that consultant some time, but usually like my last follow-up is, hey, if you're not interested in getting started with this anytime soon, I'm going to reach out to X, Y, and Z because I feel like they're going to truly benefit from these products. And I don't want to miss the opportunity, or however I word it. But then it usually is enough for that person to be like, okay, I want to try the products, or okay, I'm ready to sign up. Let's do this. And so, I think there's a bit of grace that you have to give, but at the same time, you're running a business. And so it's up to you how much you want to sell and who you're going to contact. And that's my 2 cents. But Julia, great job. I took some
Yes.
notes and like some pointers, taking the emotion out of the sale, pay attention to their goals. I love this, and tying all our products back to their goals. It's going to help them be more successful because there's going to be buy-in. So I love that. I love having it part of their intake form for the toxic burden and gut health. Educate on what we put on our skin every day truly does add up and make a difference. I think, it's easy in our health world to figure everybody knows this conversation. Everybody knows the conversation about endocrine disruptors, but so many people still don't understand this and know this. So it's up to us to continue to educate, even if we feel like a broken record, right? Like,
and I think it comes to like everything. Like, don't just ask about what skincare they're using. Ask about what laundry detergent they're using, what, everything. So they don't think you're only asking that because you want to sell them skincare, right? It's get the full picture. And then if you have a laundry detergent you love, send them a link and be like, I love this one. So that it's just, again, just part of your recommendation.
Yeah. And I always loved like, hey, I see the toxic burden. We're talking about like laundry detergent, but if you have to choose one thing, whatever you put on your skin is probably going to make a bigger difference than laundry detergent. And so making sure you kind of pull that back together, but giving them a ton of information. But we've all been there, right? Like you get 20 different recommendations and you're like, I need to live in a bubble. Like,
I think it's that same concept, like give them all the information and then say, but when we're looking at what we need to prioritize, these are the things that I prioritize. And maybe it's OTP and then one other thing that you're not affiliated.
And I think you're doing a great job with that. Obviously, you're seeing some amazing results. And, I think another good takeaway is never limit what your recommendations are, because you don't know what the other person's situation is. And then always control the controllables for them. So wonderful job.
And also, you guys keep in mind that Julia joined as a consultant in March of last year. And it's been growing since then, but it was, sorry. Right. This year, but still March. So, you know what I mean? This isn't an overnight thing. She's been putting the work in and, it's been improving on a monthly basis, but it takes a while to get the ball rolling.
Yeah. And it's even slower than I would like it to be, but I think, and every month I start out, I'm like, how the heck am I going to get there this month? Like, how am I going to get to where my goal? And then I don't know, you just do. So, no, not just you do, you put in the work, but like, and if there's a month that you don't, then you don't, but it's.
My last 2 months were slower, but that naturally happens. We had stock that was like super random. So whenever we'd have it, people would buy 3 of something. And then we also had, I think, a lot of the mindset of people being busy with school going back. And then there's the mindset this last month in October of, we're going to have Black Friday in November and then Christmas is coming. So I need to save my money because expenses are happening. So it happens this way every year,
And so like when, like right now I have so much going on that I'm like, the last week I haven't been able to like focus on this. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm behind already. But knowing that life ebbs and flows and it's not always linear, but I think if you put in the work, it'll happen over time.
And that's the beauty of this being your own business. Someone contacted me yesterday and said, I just haven't had the time to sit down for hours. I'm like, so don't sit down for hours. I have 6 videos that take you 5 minutes to get through to get you started. Like this is your business to do as you want. Don't put pressure on yourself to have to sit down for hours. Just start sharing on your stories. maybe take a time lapse of yourself doing your skincare routine and then put your quiz link up. If you don't know the products yet, then that's when you can rely on the quiz. And the quiz isn't perfect, but that's when
And
you
us, you can rely on us too. So
yeah, I was going to
yeah.
say, then you go to the chat and you ask questions. I mean, Julia's been doing this for months and she still puts like, here's the protocol I'm thinking of in the chat. What are everybody's thoughts? And that's how we all learn. But if you just get started and then you answer one issue at a time, you're going to be successful. I had type A perfection paralysis, and my husband is very much like, oh, that's a great opportunity to put a satellite in space. I don't know how, but I'm going to like pitch that deal. And then he'll figure just total off the wall example, right? But then he figures it out. And I was like, that's what I've learned from of, you don't have to be perfect. Just get started and, whoa, my gosh, I don't know what to do. Team, help me. And then we will. So
I actually didn't intend to make this a business either. It just kind of like I bought F59 because I saw people doing it and I was like, I'm gonna try this. And I just shared one product and then it just kind of like went from there. So I think the more like authentic you are with what you're trying, what you're doing, people might not purchase right there because they're like, I'm gonna wait till she's been trying this for some time, but then it will pay off later.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, Julia. That was really, really good and resonated a lot.
And if any of you guys have any other questions, just drop them in the chat. We'll continue. I know this is a little bit longer and I'm going to have to jet out of here. We get to drive to a different town to go get water. So that's exciting.
Fun, fun,
Yeah.
fun.
But there is some good stuff to just make sure it's on the recording. So
I'll go through it.
well, no, I'm still here for
Oh, you have
another
time to go through. Okay, we'll go through it quickly.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah, so
share
we'll
my
be able to go.
screen.
Okay. Yeah, that helps me not having to split thing. So thank you for sticking along, Julia. That was incredible.
That was amazing.
All things November, we got holiday sets. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. Would we have loved small little staple sizes? And absolutely. And
But I have loved an F06 F81 combo. Yes.
yes. And you know, like, okay, so here's the thing. Next year we should have proper holiday sets. The President Olive Stars are like planning to have a pitch to Thomas to show him like how much we want and have
He
ideas.
doesn't fully understand the concept of having something that doesn't exist otherwise
Yes.
during one season. Like
He
someone
doesn't.
told me the other day, Quick Foods, oh my God, do you think they would do a chocolate mint for a holiday? I'm like, I'll ask them.
Oh,
They'll
perfect.
do
That
it
would
next
be
year. Seasonal flavors. It's like,
Yeah.
that'd be so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, I think it's just like that brain doesn't go there. So the holiday sets are live. I started looking at them and talking about them. Like there are certain people whose fine and pour set that are consultants that's essentially their protocol, except for now they need to have a cleanser added to it. So they can sell that to their community easily because that's their go-to, right? The hydroxytyrosol corrective set, like that's actually a really good set. And a lot of those products people can use if they can handle hydroxytyrosol in that amount. Or you can buy all these and then break them up as
Parse them out.
yeah, into individual packages. So you just got to kind of get creative. And last week we talked about Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Wait, look, back up.
It's like,
So
huh?
yeah, no. So like we talked about what you could do for that, but for the sets, think about it with a consultant discount and use this as a recruiting aspect too. Like that hydroxytyrosol corrective set, as a consultant, you're paying $209 for 4 products. In the F59 and the F87, which I believe is the Kahai, those two alone are like almost $100. So, you know, you start thinking about like, oh, wow, we're getting like 50% discount on there. Or the Get the Glow, the F06 and F82, $89 for 2 products. That's like buy one, get one free, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do think like hitting that home to people is really important. Like, and whoever bought the F82 for the Labor Day sale, they should be getting the Get the Glow set because now they're getting another F82 for free. So you think, okay, Labor Day, they're going to be needing a new green retinol and it's too close for them to do the quiz. So let's get them on that Get the Glow set. Okay.
Great ideas. Great ideas.
So
And
Black Friday,
while we're
Cyber,
talking holiday, it's not a
Yep.
set right now, but you guys, I really, really love these products for holiday for like yourself. So I know I talked about it in the email, but the masks make such a good gift. My nieces and nephew wanted cash, and I was like, I don't want to just send you cash. So for Christmas, I sent them each a blemish control mask and cash. So they had something to open up. I give those for birthday gifts to my friends with like a applicator brush. I give them as hostess gifts. The olive oil, holy cow, do I stuck up on that? Those are teachers' gifts for me because I try not to give sweet treats to teachers. I come from a family of teachers and they're always like, it's great, it's nice, but I can't take any more chocolate. Like those are really, really good gifts. You throw a bow on a bottle of olive oil, even by itself, and show up to a dinner party. It's awesome.
beautiful. And they're going to come back to you because it tastes so good, you know?
Mhm.
And I do think going into our Facebook group and doing the November Fest, just reading what they're suggesting and listening to the leaders and all the gift ideas, if you can be the resource for other people's gifting, they're going to be able to purchase from you, and you're helping them curate specific products and boxes together. I'm going to drop in the team chat, hopefully tonight when my friend's driving, something that Danielle did at another company and how beautiful her setup was for farmers markets and holiday markets. But they're curated boxes where people could pick like one or two of Olive Tree stuff, and then they could pick like two extra things for this price point or for this price point. But the whole idea and the premise of it is to get you thinking about like, how can you serve your customers? And is there anybody in person, like teachers? Can you do salons, coaches, like who is gifting, right? And Julia, I know we talked about this and you texted your friend right away, like who is the one doing the gifting that you know of because for their company, right? So it's making those contacts and getting on them early because the holiday sales and spending is starting earlier. So really want you guys to hone in on holiday and try to expand that. One thing we didn't talk about, my business personally, and I can speak for Gretchen's because I could see it happening, our businesses exploded this month. Gretchen basically went from like 0 to
Last year. Yeah.
100 this month last year. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so you could double, triple, quadruple rank in the month of November. This is not official, so do not post, do not share publicly. Nothing's official until we hear it from HQ, but there's rumors that Black Friday will start on the 22nd, which is a Friday, which would be 1 week before Black Friday. Don't know what it looks like, don't know what the sales will be, but we do know this. I was kind of heartbroken when I figured out that Cyber Monday was December 1st or December 2nd. So our holiday weekend spending for Black Friday and Cyber Monday is split. So if you're hoping for Black Friday sales to promote and rank, you're going to have to put in a little bit more work if you want it for November. Okay. So I just want to make sure everybody doesn't have the shock that I did.
I can't wait to hear what they come up with, and I hope it's really good.
I hope it's really good too. And also know December 1st was supposed to be Olive Rose launch because it's in the gifting weekend. They are heavily considering having Olive Rose launch on the 3rd. So it's can be its own like excitement that like, hey, we're launching because
Couple days. I think that's good.
yeah, we don't want it to be included in a discount or buy this and now you get this for free. Like you don't need any incentive. People want Olive Rose. Okay. Good. All right. Next slide.
Um,
All right. And I'm going to let you take over here, Gretchen, because I know.
Full disclosure, I was in Europe during most of these trainings, but I have been in the chats. So
you probably know as much as me. No, it goes through here. We got the pictures. It's everything that
yeah, I can do it. It's fine.
there.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So you know I'm good at winging it. Olive Rose Skin Tint.
Yeah.
We know we have 18 shades, which is awesome. Originally, we were going to have far less. And then we had Star Summit and realized that some of our consultants couldn't find the right tint match because of their ethnicities and it just wasn't available. So right then that weekend, Thomas decided to expand it to 4 more shades, which is really awesome. One thing to keep in mind that these are skin tints, not foundations. So you don't have to be so exact, so precise, so scared to choose a color because they're forgiving and thin and yes, we can return, but the recommendation is to get what you kind of think your skin color is and then get lighter and darker because you could use those to contour to shade to mix when it's like winter versus summer, right? So we've got these 18 shades. And then Olive Rose. So what shade are you? We have a lot of trainings in the back office from Luis. Magda's done some too. So like I said, they recommend purchasing 3 to 5 colors. 5 is a lot. I think, 5 is good. I've seen other consultants in our leader chats, like our Gold Olive Star and above chats, who've purchased the 5, but they've purchased other tones that aren't theirs at all, so that when they have glow parties, there's a wider range of tints for people to try. So first you have to determine your undertone, and this is where watching the trainings would be really helpful. So you could help determine if you're cool, warm, neutral, olive. But we have some tools in place to help you guys break this down further. I put all of these in boards. So if you go to boards and then go to, I want to make sure I direct you exactly. So the FitQuest Oliveda board, product pics and info, you're going to see things in there for Oliveda body, face, Olive Rose. So you go to Olive Rose and at the very top where it says undertones, click in there and I put all of these things in here. So I put some text that you can read through, but you're going to be able to see all of these pictures and everything in there. So you have access to it if people ask you, how do I choose a tone? So this walks you through basically figuring out your undertone. And then here are some more pictures of other people. I know for myself, I always tend to look like I look and I'm like kind of in this range here, although Zoom makes me look a lot redder than I am. But it's kind of helpful to see all of these things here. And then these are the descriptions where it kind of goes into, okay, well, you figured out what your undertone is, and now you've looked at these pictures to determine if you're light cool, light warm, light neutral. And then again, back to that one there. And these are some of the consultants that are in our leader group. And for me, I was lucky because I saw like what Caitlin chose, and I have a picture. Caitlin and Nicole are the same color. I have a picture where I'm with Caitlin and Nicole. I'm like, ooh, based off of what they look like, what am I? But this is also helpful to see the different shades that people have. And I don't know if we have it with Jess, but I don't think Jess is in here, but I also put in boards. If you guys follow Jess Wood, she had texted in our group what she purchased. So I actually have a text in the Olive Rose folder in boards saying exactly what she purchased. So just seeing what other people have gotten is going to help me figure out what I'm going to purchase. That's in there again. Okay. And in there again. So these are copied, but just to give you a little idea of it. And then I've asked in the chat, like, how are they going to know who is available for, or how are we going to figure out how to get the early access? And what I've heard is I think Amy's just pulling a report from the back office and somehow going to contact those of us, maybe put us in an email list or tag us. I have no idea. Because I mean, I have the early access for purchasing tomorrow, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. But I'm sure it'll be made clear before then. So any questions on Olive Rose Skin Tint? I know I went kind of fast on that, but I think we're all just figuring it out, right? I think this is going to become my new, like, I don't even wear anything on my face right now. It's usually just like mascara, lip gloss, maybe a little blush if I'm feeling snazzy, and eyebrows. But adding this in, I think is going to make it even that much better. So yes, excited about it. And I will get a newsletter out to you guys about, I mean, you guys are on the meeting, so but so that your downlines know about the new enrollment kits and I already put one out about holiday sets, but that is on my list to get information out to everybody about the 3 additional enrollment kits. So this has been great, unless anyone has any questions, which I don't know where my chat went. Maybe it's because I have it on sharing. So here we go. Yeah, Jen had to go. Anyone have any questions? Cool. But I don't think so, because you guys are all people that are usually comfortable unmuting. But thank you for joining. I will get this out to, I'll probably put the all of this into one newsletter. So thank you, ladies. Let us know if you have any questions, but have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you again, Julia.